Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Monday. Up and at 'em, guys. Today is the 21st of April. So, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, we're going to talk about a lot of challenges that we meet because we're problem solvers, right? That's the key to doing a small engine repair or even automotive repair. It's problem solving not only in our daily lives, internally, it's also problem solving at the shop. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know, and yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Monday, April 21st of 2025. So, what are we talking about when it comes to problem solving? I mean, we're problem solving technically all the time, right? Unless you're in like a flux where you don't think of too many things, but that's not what my case is all about. I'm problem solving all the time, of whether to do this or to do that, and you have to wear a lot of hats. That's the key of running your small engine repair business, whether it be on the side or full fledged. Same thing with your automotive. Any type of business, you're problem solving all the time. So you have to figure out how you're going to spend your time because time is the most important thing, I think, that many of us take for granted. And I'm not talking about linear, I'm talking where is your time best spent? If you're having problems with collecting monies and your accounting, wouldn't it be common sense that you would need to spend more time problem solving in that area versus turning a wrench on something that you're familiar with? I know that most of us try to find things that we're familiar with because it doesn't require a lot of effort, brain power, or muscles. But that's one of the challenges that you're going to face, whether it be your personal life or your business life. In your personal life, you're constantly trying to allot time where it's needed most, right? If you're in a relationship, you have to understand that that takes work. It doesn't just simply be a fairy tale from start to finish, right? It's a lot of give and take. But the problem that we end up with relationships is that we get so busy, right? And we either become a workaholic or you have kids. That's an added factor, right? And now the kids are taking up a lot of the time. So again, we come back to time, right? And problem solving. So in any relationship, you're going to have to spend time and you're going to have to be a problem solver. And sometimes just being there is problem solving, if you know what I mean. But when you go back to the shop or your business, you're also doing the same thing. You're a person that wears a lot of hats. If you're the owner, the mechanic, the customer service rep, and so forth, right? And what do I mean by problem solving? Do I mean that if you're having problems collecting monies and doing invoices, that you need to spend all this time learning how to do it? Absolutely not. You know, One thing that I've tried to express to you guys is time is money, right? The more money you have, the less time you have to spend at it. And the less money you have, the more time you got to spend to learn it. And what do I mean by that? I mean, a simple problem solving would be is if you have enough income coming in, could you hire someone to come in once a week and do bookwork? Could you hire a certified public accountant to do the bookwork? Could you hire somebody that's a stay-at-home mom? Drop the invoices off, the hen scratching that you have done on paper for each customer and have them do it and pay them to do it. There's a lot of options, but that comes with problem solving, right? We have to decide first, is it something that we want to devote our time to, or is our time better spent out in the shop? In most cases, your time is better spent out in the shop. That's where the money is, right? But if you can't collect it, then you're just wasting your time out there. So that would be one way to problem solve the wearing the hats. If you have enough income coming in, you can hire somebody else to wear those hats, whether it be part-time or full-time, right? But you're doing the same thing when it comes to a customer bringing a unit in, right? That's the first thing you're thinking is, what do I have to do to it? What's going on with it? But you're problem solving. You're trying to decide, do I have time to get it in? When will I get it in? Before the customer starts asking, how soon can I have it back? Most of the customers are going to say, don't worry, I'm not in any hurry, and then call tomorrow and ask if their machine is done and ready for pickup. And what did they owe you? When it's still sitting out there in the yard and it's not come in yet. So we have to problem solve that to have our customers have an expectation of when things are going to happen. And it's so much easier to voice it up front than it is to combat it later on. If you voice it up front and say, look, it's probably going to be 3 or 4 days before I get your machine in here to even look at it. You've given yourself a few days. Now, if you get it in that afternoon or the following morning and you call the customer and tell them it's all done and this is the bill, they'll be ecstatic. But if you don't problem solve their expectations, they may be calling you in the morning wanting to know why it's not done. You see what I'm saying? It's all in how we approach things. Right down to turning a wrench. Is this a job that we want to take on in the shop? Because there's going to be jobs that just are not worth it anymore. And the biggest one that comes to mind, and I think Jason, a lot of you guys could chime in here anytime, is rebuilds. We did a lot of rebuilds for years because it was so much cheaper, right? To rebuild the engine, freshen it up with maybe a new short block, and then using the other parts off the old machine that were still good, you know. Nowadays, no. Nobody wants to have an engine rebuilt. It isn't worth it to them. We're in that scenario of where we're in the throwaway generation, and that is we run it until it dies and we go get another one. With these tariffs coming into place, is that going to make a difference? I think it could if it was left in place long enough, but I think that they're all just trying to bring people to the table of the countries, and in the end, it'll level out. And the Chinese imports will still be cheap enough to compete with the OEM engines and short blocks. A lot of times, just to go for like a Briggs short block on a V-twin is more expensive than going and buying a bigger horsepower engine with a Predator than it is to fix the one that you got. And you get a brand new one with a warranty. All brand new parts, right? So you have to look at these jobs when they come through the door. Problem solving, is it something that we even want to tackle? If it's something above your pay grade and you're willing to try it, then that's where problem solving comes in again, because now you have to make the customer aware that normally we don't do these, but I will try. I'm not guaranteeing anything because I don't know what the outcome would be. That would be a good time for your customer to take it somewhere else that does have confidence in that area. But if you watch very many of my videos, especially if you go back a little ways, you're going to find that with time you get experience, right? And with experience, you get wisdom. So, time is the key critical thing. It's actually attempting to do it. And the more times you attempt to do it, the better you're going to get at it, or hopefully the better you're going to get out of it. Because, with time comes experience, and the experience that you get from that particular job, whether it's good or bad. If it's good, you chalk it up in the win column, right? But if it's bad, how did it go bad? Why did it go bad? We're problem solving. And we're trying to figure out why it went bad and what can we do to correct it. And that all comes with experience. Nobody is expected to quit their job today and start a small engine repair business and be able to do it all. I know guys that have been at it for years and still can't do it all. Some of the more profitable ones were ones that kind of stayed in their lane, per se. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I had a gal when I was in the hospital, and they were giving me Lasix, which has a tendency to collapse your veins, all right? And there was one evening in particular, and my blood pressure had dropped a lot. And they needed to get an IV in me to give me medications to turn it around. And my main IV port was plugged. And that poor nurse kept jabbing me 8 to 10 times trying to find a vein. She finally said, "Look, I can't do this anymore to you. This is too much." So she called the nurse practitioner that was on shift to come in, and she tried it a couple times with no luck. Now, my blood pressure is still dropping. So, a short time later, an older black woman come in. She had to probably be in her 60s, and she, "How you doing, young man?" Which made me laugh because I'm 62. But she put a hot balloon, or a balloon full of warm water, right on my elbow, the top side of my elbow. And she visited with me for a couple minutes. And then she removed the balloon and then took the needle and just perfectly got a vein. The nurse and the nurse practitioner came in, gave me the medications I needed, and I was stabilized again. And one of the things, because I told her how many attempts that the nurse and the nurse practitioner had tried with no luck. And that's where she said, she come back and said, "Look, I've been doing this a long time, young man. And the way I look at it is they need to stay in their lane and I need to stay in mine," which means she had the experience and the expertise and the know-how to get that vein. One way or another, she had learned it over time, right? With her good experiences and bad experiences of what worked and what didn't work. And I guarantee you that nurse and that nurse practitioner will remember, just like I do, the warm balloon trick of taking even a glove that they would put on, filling it with lukewarm water and putting it in that area that they wanted to start an IV to get the vein to come up. Is one way of doing it, warming that area. So that's what I mean by time is experience, good and bad. And in the end, it gives you wisdom one way or the other of the best way to approach things. There are some things that you probably aren't going to want to do. But for all of us, we had to start somewhere, right? We had to figure out what we wanted to get out of life. If that's running a small engine repair business, then we need to find out how to, right? We just can't take over somebody else's business and think it's going to be successful. That's rarely the case. A lot of times, your business is successful based on who's at the helm and how they treat people. If your customers feel like they're being treated very well, then they will be back and they will be one of your best advertisers. treat your customers like you have a million of them and take advantage of them, and you'll be out of business before you can say a hoot, right? But that's what I mean by everything is problem solving. You're problem solving all day long. Even right down to what am I going to have for lunch, right? Some are going to be easy to answer. Some are going to require more information to make that determination. Time. Do you have the time to spend more time on that to get that answer? Or is it better well spent hiring somebody to do that aspect for you, if that makes any sense? So I'm going to start wrapping it up. I think you get the idea that we're problem solving all day long. And probably we do it in our sleep too, right? You know, where you go to bed with a problem on top of your head in the morning, you have the answer. Who knows? But the more time we do things, the better we get at it. And that's because of the experience that comes with it, good and bad. Because you learn just as much from your screw-ups as you do your successes. And with that comes wisdom. And the wisdom of being able to do it and do it well because you've done it numerous times. Something that you think is easy may be very difficult to somebody else. So on that note, you guys have a great day, and we'll catch you here bright and early tomorrow morning.